Battle of Vicksburg was different than a lot of other battles that we've looked at in the Civil War, and we'll quickly see why. The first thing we'll notice on the dates, April to July of 1863. Most Civil War battles lasted a day. Gettysburg lasted 3. So right away, something is different about that. And the place was Vicksburg, Mississippi. So the reason this was so much different was what the Union was trying to do. So they were trying to gain control of the Mississippi River, which was one of their war goals. In order to completely gain control of the Mississippi, they needed to take down the entire city of Vicksburg. Vicksburg sat up on a hill above the Mississippi River. So if Union ships were going up and down the Mississippi River, the South from Vicksburg could attack those ships. So the North knew this, so they need to take down the whole city. So they're going to attempt a siege. A siege is when you surround, in this case, a city. You don't let anything in. You don't let anything out. So slowly what you do is you're starving a city to death. Another thing that's why it took so long. It took 2.5 months. So not only did they surround it, but they were bombarding it with cannons and things like that. That explains the length of time. Another difference with this is most Civil War battles affect soldiers. This affected civilians that were living there. The person in charge of this was Ulysses S. Grant, and that's a photo of him. So he was a Union general in the West. He'd been fighting out in the West for a while, and once the Union wins this, Lincoln's going to be impressed with Grant, and he's going to fire George Meade, and he's going to replace Meade with Grant. And Grant will be there till the end. He's going to be the one that defeats Robert E. Lee in the Southern Army. I mentioned this, but the Union wins. The importance goes along with the background information. Now the Union has total control of the Mississippi River, so they control traffic up and down the river. They've completely split the Confederacy into 2. For the people that were living in Vicksburg, it was absolutely awful. They were slowly starving to death. They ran out of food. They started killing their pets. They started killing their horses. They were eating rats. And eventually they did surrender to the Union. Another thing that was mentioned or that was used was ironclads. And we haven't spoken about these yet, but ironclads were a type of ship. And this was new technology. Instead of being made out of wood, they were covered with iron plates, almost like armor. And you can look at it. It's a different looking ship. It was really low in the water. Also, it's steam powered, which was another slight advantage to it. But anyway, a wooden ship, typically in naval battles, a wooden ship, if it got hit with a bunch of cannonballs in the right place, eventually the ship's going to sink. But with these armored plates, the cannonballs bounced off of them. And early in the war, there was this famous battle between a Union ship and a Confederate ship called the Merrimack and the Monitor, and they were shooting cannons at each other. No one won because you couldn't do much with these ships. However, they were used a lot on the Mississippi River. This is what the Union